And we are live. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back
Evening all.
to another live stream. I think this is week 6 now, I believe, of us doing it. Thanks very much to everybody who's joined again. I noticed a lot of familiar faces in the chat, so thank you to everybody who's joined. Just a quick one here. Gao said, wonder if the whiskey's out tonight. So, yep, definitely is. We'll get onto that in a bit. So thanks very much, people. Really appreciate everybody joining. And we'll see what we can do. So tonight we're going to have the usual kind of first half. Everybody will have a wee kind of discussion, a couple of things to talk about. We'll discuss what's happened during the week. And the second half of the show, we're going to have Neil from Neil's Reef Aquarium join us. So really looking forward to having Neil with us. He'll be there for the first half. So Neil will join us about 9 o'clock and we'll go from there. So, I think we'll just start off straight away with what's been happening this week. So I'll go around and on my screen, Paul, I think you're the first one up, mate. So if you could just tell us what's been happening this week.
Yeah, good evening all. So, quite a bit's happened this week. Focus on the floating reef. So I put a post onto Instagram today. So I'm really pleased with how it's maturing and set up in December. What I have found, though, the last 3 weeks, the alkalinity's dropped. It went down to about 6.4, which is no big deal. So what I've decided is I've had some kit stored away for a little while. So I've started to set it up. So I set this up last night, Dosatronic.
Okay.
So I picked that up from a tank breakdown probably just before Christmas, but I didn't really need to do anything with it. So the reason why I picked that was it's got 5 dosing heads. And what I want to try is auto water change. Because they've got stepper motors. So stepper motors, the heads, they don't wear out. And they're there to go really 24/7 if you want to do it. If you've got a calcium reactor, most people go for a stepper motor. Kamoa's pretty good in that space, and I've had that before. So I've set it up with the 5 heads. So it's been calibrated. I haven't actually done a water change yet, but the whole point will be on the 170 that's from December. I'll start doing water change. Maybe I've got 20 litre containers, so I'll do 20 litre a week. I'll do it over about 12 hours, so you're not actually changing much in terms of the parameters, and then see what happens for a couple of weeks. I've only got about 10 corals, got a big lump of Setosa and lime in the sky, but it's already beginning to consume alkalinity. I'm desperate to put some more SPS in there. But I'm not going to do that until I've got a bit more stability and I know what's dosing. So I've been dosing manually the Red Sea alkalinity about 1 milliliter, and it's been bringing it up. So it's about 7.4 at the moment. I like to get it up to 8.4 because then that matches with the Red Sea blue salt. So that was the first thing. And then the other thing that I've had this since Christmas, just about to set that up as well. I know Steve's obviously got that. That's stuck on the wall. It's switched on, but I haven't calibrated yet. So I'll do that over the weekend, and then we'll get going with that. So been a lot happening. There's a lot of kit there. The good thing is, I mean, you don't usually see Dosatronic matching with KH Keeper.
I was going to ask that. I take it it's kind of something that you're just trialing out, is it? Or?
No, it wasn't deliberate. It just so happened that the Dosatronic was about just under half price of a brand new one, and the guy was breaking down his tank, and it hasn't been used. There's no salt creep on it at all. You can see that it's been attached because the bracket has been used, but even all of the tubing is dry. It's all wrapped, and you can see when tubing's been used because you get a little bit of salt on it. So that was the main reason I got that, and I got that before the KH Keeper. And I'm not fussed about using the KH Keeper to automatically adjust alkalinity. So that's the reason why. First impression is the Dosatronic is really well made. It's probably better made than the KH Keeper, just if you look at the materials that are used. But that's not knocking KH Keeper. The KH Keeper is a really good price point. Steve, we discussed that before, haven't we, on here? So I would say the materials they use are better quality, but then if you look at it, it retails about 650, 700 for a 5-head doser. I'm not too sure if that's expensive or not. I know the Apex docks come in at about 600 for 4, but with a stepper motor, they're usually more expensive because those heads shouldn't wear out. So that was one of the reasons I got that. So even if I wanted to, obviously I can't. I don't think I can link the KH Keeper to the Dosatronic and make one do the other. But I'm not fussed on that.
Yeah,
But
that's good. Are you going to do a video on that to show everybody?
Yeah, filmed. Yeah, I will do. Just in terms of not so much the setup, because there's quite a lot of setups out there already, but just really how it's working, and just an overview of what the floating reef is doing. Because I'm pretty happy about how the corals are looking, and they're nice and plump. The LPS and the SPS are beginning to grow out, which is good in quite a short period of time as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it, really,
that's
Ross.
really good, mate. Perfect. Thanks very much. So we'll now go on to Jay, who I can see, and also by the comments, has had his ears lowered this week.
I'm getting a load of grief in this chat here. I'm getting a load of grief. I've had a lockdown haircut. My missus has given me a lockdown haircut. Look at that.
Looks very professional, mate.
There's the bowl. What am I doing here? What is Easter weekend, isn't it? I'm struggling here. What's going on? What am I supposed to be doing?
That'll be you off on holiday for more holidays now, isn't it?
I know, yeah. So, well, you want an update on my tank? Is that what it is? So,
yeah,
I thought my tank.
You can tell us actually what you were doing to start with.
What's that?
What were you doing to start with the tank?
Well, I've just realised I've got a crisis that I didn't know I had until I started doing. So
it's not the NEM, is it?
No, it's not the NEM. The NEM's still in one place. So obviously it's my last week at work, so I've been focused on work for most of the week. The tank looked really good. Corals looked nice. Fish were happy. I thought it was in like cruise control. You know, you just like sit back and just think, right, I can enjoy this now. And I haven't done a water test for about 14 days, which I know people might find hard to believe because I do like a water test. Yeah. But I haven't done one for about 10 days, something like that. I thought, I've got an hour to go before the live stream. I'll do the full set. I'll go through everything. Gets to me little phosphate egg, and it was 0.23. And then I measured it again, and it was 0.21.
Wow.
I know, yeah. So I thought I was having a really good week there. Just like, I've cracked it. Yes, I've made it as a reefer now. I can sit back after 6 months, and the tank will run itself. The minute I took my foot off the gas and took my eye off the game, the phosphate went up. So as you called in there, Ross, I was there with the rower phos and a shovel, like bringing the coal in. And I've just been topping up the rower phos bag at the back to try and because I don't have that's high. Cheers, mate. I did it twice because I thought, oh my god, that is pretty high. So I'm going to do it again, and it was still high. So. The only thing it is, though, I've had a new order of food, like frozen food.
Right.
Now I've got loads in stock in the freezer. So I've been using a cube of food frozen, and that's the only thing that I've changed. So I'm guessing the food's obviously caused a little bit of a phosphate spike. So because of that crisis, I didn't even get onto my nitrate one. Yeah. I ain't even done that one, yeah. So I might have to do that at some point, but yeah, it's. I thought everything was going really, really well, and then phosphates were up. So reefers, if you're watching, don't listen to anything that I say. Honestly, you get it wrong all the time. You got to keep an eye on your tanks. The minute I've had about 5 days off, just relaxing and enjoying it, and it's gone to shit.
So when was the last time you changed the Raphos? Because there's a couple of comments in there. It could be that the Raphos is dead and it needs changing altogether.
You change it, dear. No, yeah. I changed it about 2 months ago.
Yeah, but well spent.
I would say it's gone.
You would say it's gone.
Yeah.
Will it?
I change my Raphos every 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, but I'm like, mine's like a Yorkshire tea bag, mate. I proper strain it.
We know what you're like, Jay.
I get every drop. Well, it's not cheap, this stuff, is it? I don't know where they get the price from for Rowaphos.
Jay,
Yeah, so
nothing in this hobby is cheap, my friend. You should know that by now.
So I've upgraded the bag. I've put some more Rowaphos in, given it a shake around. Hopefully that'll drop down in the next few days. The only other news is my fans. I got my fans on. Is it Wednesday? My fans came on. It was quite warm in England. It got to about 22 degrees or something. Yeah.
That's
every
lucky,
month.
mate. I had to scrape the ice off my van this morning.
What? Serious?
I had to scrape the ice off my van this morning, so yeah.
Oh my goodness. Still cold up in Scotland. I was going to head up to Scotland this summer. I might stay down here. So I think it's a bit cold. Yeah, so the fans came on. They were all working. Yeah, so apart from that, I was having a really good week. Thought everything was swimming. And then enjoying the tank. The minute I started enjoying it, I found that I've got another problem.
I think it's one.
That is. I've never heard that saying. That is a good saying.
That's a
good
one,
that Colin.
That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah. And anyway, Harrow must be working for Rowaphos. He says I have to buy it every month as well. It is good stuff, but with the little Red Sea Max Nano, there's no reactor, so it sits in a bag. You've got to kind of, I have it suspended in the water, try and get the water around it, but you do have to kind of shake it every now and again just so it moves around. But I guess, well, has Paul got a reactor? I think you have, haven't you, Steve? You've both got reactors, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got mine in a reactor, but obviously it's a sump tank, so you can easily do it. As soon as the FOS goes up, I start changing the Rowaphos on it, because then you know it's going. I mean, some people run 2 reactors at a time, and then what they do, they'll swap one out and leave the other one in, because then you can squeeze the last of it out of one of them. But also, if you put too much in, it has been known to strip certain colds, because you've gone from none to having quite a bit. I think LPS is all right. It's more to do with SPS. I haven't experienced that myself, but I've seen that online where some people have put too much in one go, and it's dropped the FOS too quickly. But yeah, I mean, it's no big deal, I think, because you've got LPS there, so you can just change it over and just go again. But it's a good sign that it's not a good sign. It's a sign of it's been exhausted, and just switch it over, and it'll just come back down again over a period of time.
Yeah, it's gone to that. It's gone to that new high in 10 days. So it can raise quickly, can't it? And obviously, phosphate, that's the one that sends your tank green as well with algae and stuff, isn't it?
So I take it you think that's because you're feeding like one block of food, Jay, rather than I get like 3 days out of block with mine. So
you know a thing with that food though, Jay. Yeah, you know the frozen stuff. Yeah, I used to just throw them in the tank. Yeah. And I did do. Remember, I put 4 cubes in my tank a day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for me, yeah, and I did start to see an increase in like phosphates, and I was like, well, and I've done some research, and the actual, when they actually fill them up, they just fill some companies. I'm not saying all of them yet, but some of them they just basically fill them up with tap water. Once they with the product, yeah. Now you just check out what's in tap water. You know what I mean? Yeah. So what I do is I just put 2 of my cubes in a strainer, yeah, let them defrost, and then run RO water over them, and then just tip, just RO water all over it, and then just in the tank. That way, there's no liquid going in. All that's going in is the mysis, shrimp, or whatever you're feeding. You know what I mean? And I haven't seen an increase in it. You know what I mean? So it must work.
Yeah, it is well known. Yeah, it's well known to have quite high phosphate in frozen, so I always defrost it. I do mine on a plate and then drain it away, and then feed it afterwards. I mean, you see how much liquid that comes out of it, and that is kind of, I wouldn't say pure phosphate, but a lot of phosphate. So it's worth draining it off first. In whatever way you do it, doesn't really matter, does it? But I would definitely do that, Jay. If you're putting it straight in, I would drain it, because then your Rowaphos is going to last longer because it's not working so hard.
Yeah. Thanks, gents. No, I've been putting it straight in. So, there's so much in this hobby that you've got to pick up. And that's obviously just another little tip that'll help me out now. That's exactly what's happened. That's what's caused it.
Yeah.
So with the fan,
strainer to the rescue.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I'm going to order one now.
So
I'm going to get one from Amazon.
So Jay, was the fan connected to the DD controller so it was triggered by the temperature going above a certain level, and then the fans kicked in? Is that how you set it up?
Yeah. So I already had the controller and the heat bar. So I had a spare socket, which is the fan socket. Yeah. And all it was is just plug it straight in. But my temperature range is only +3 and -3, so it doesn't take much for the fan to kick in. So when it went to 25.9, it kicked in then. But my pH has gone up as well, which I think is to do with the fan blowing as well.
Yeah.
So the wave maker's been on, the fans have been on, and the pH has gone up as well. So that's helped. It helps it in a way. But yeah, the D&D. In fact, I can't. Every bit of D&D kit so far has been absolutely brilliant. I love what they do. It's brilliant stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be without the fans already.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, that's good.
I know you were taking the mix, Steve, about it blowing all the water out of the tank, right? But and I was worried when it came on. I was like, oh, here we go. Let's get the towel ready. Let's get the towel ready. But
it's 6 foot from away from your tank. That's why it didn't blow it out.
Well, it's for the Nano. For the Nano, it looks smart. It sits on the glass front, and it's not too powerful either. It's just right. So, if anybody's thinking about getting the 2 or the 4, just go with the 4 because it'll cool it faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, it's done the job, mate. Does the job.
It's been really good. Yeah, it's I like it.
Yeah.
Ideal. Thanks very much for that, Jay.
Let me get my tea strainer order.
I'll let you get that. Yeah. Now, last but not least, Steve, I know you've had a bit of a terrible week, mate, judging by your videos.
That's
I've watched them earlier, but I know. I'll let you tell everybody if they don't already know.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a, how can I put it? A bit of a mismatched week this week. Some good, some bad. You know what I mean? Which we have in this hobby, don't we? Like Jay says, you know what I mean? Sometimes you have, some weeks, in fact, some months you'll go perfect and you won't have anything wrong, and then all of a sudden you'll get 3 or 4 different things that will hit you, and you'll be like, why am I in this hobby? You know what I mean? But it is what it is. It's all learning. We all learn, don't we? So. But yeah, apart from everything's gone really good. Corals, I tested my water parameters was all fine in both tanks. In fact, I'm having a bit of an issue with my nano tank because no matter how much I feed that tank, I was doing weekly water changes, then I've gone bi-weekly, and it seems to I only seem to have like 1 ppm of nitrates in it, which I don't know why. You know what I mean? It's very, very strange. I'm really not sure the reason. So some of the corals are not looking the best in the tank, which is a bit concerning. But I don't know whether to feed it up more or whether to go monthly water changes on it. I really don't know at this moment in time. But other than that, my main display, that's just stable as anything. The KH keeper, Paul obviously elaborated to it before. It's doing okay. It's doing its thing. It's a bit fiddly. I'm going to do an update video on it, a 1 monthly update video, because there is a few things that I don't like about it. And if I could voice my opinion to the company, by all means I would. You know what I mean? But some things you've just got to recalibrate it more times than what it says. You know what I mean? And it's just and the instructions are shocking. You know what I mean? Which I've said before. You know what I mean? But I suppose it is what it is in that sense. But yeah, going back onto my nano, everything was fine. And then I came down. I was doing some work in the house, and then I fed the fish. It was about 2:00. Everything was fine. And then I come to feed them at 5:30, 5:45, and the little guy, one of the Ronnie and Reggie clownfish, had jumped out of the tank and gone at the back. Usually he hides in a rock, you see. So I thought, he's just in there. He's not hungry. And I didn't really think. And it was only when I came later on in the evening, I thought he's usually out by now. And I looked at the back of the tank and he's jumped out, which is my own fault. And this is going on to another thing which we could ask is, like, does everybody use a top, a covering? You know, I mean, I might have been very fortunate because I've never had a top, a covering on my tanks, never. And I've only ever had 1 fish jump out. The little guy was the second fish that's jumped out of my tank, yeah. So either I've been very lucky, or I've just not got the fish that jump out. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, and that, but. Obviously, needless to say, I was gutted because they were just establishing themselves. You know what I mean? They were just like getting into them. You could see the female growing bigger and the male was staying small. So I could see it. So now it's I've just been scrolling through the things, and Harrow did I buy another one? And up to now I haven't bought one yet. So I'm truthful. I'm gonna pop to my local LFS tomorrow and see if they've got a similar size one maybe. I don't want to get one too small. I don't want to get one too big because there might be a bit of a, bit of fight in there. So
yeah,
I don't know. Other than that, mate, it's been a fairly quiet week for me. You know what I mean? I bought a couple of corals. I must say, I bought.
I'm just laughing because you said last week you weren't buying any more.
You know what it is, mate. Yeah, I have friends who phone me and say, have you seen such a body and such a body? He's got it, and I'm go, all right, yeah. Oh, your brother's sister's brother. And, oh yeah. and then I go, right, I'll go and see him, and then I'll go and see him, and then I'll see one, and then I'm like, what the hell? You know what I mean? It's like too many, mate. You know what I mean? And then he's like, oh, do you want this? And then I go, oh god, that one's nice. I'll have that one as well. So I bought a couple of colours, but yeah, bought some acans which are not looking the best. I don't really know why. I've never kept acans, to be truthful. So they just
what tank's that in, Steve?
It's in my main display. My main one. So I'm thinking, is it because of the high DKH that I'm running it, or what, Paul? You know what I mean? I'm a bit unsure. Is it is it because of lower nutrients between 2 and 5? I don't really know. I've never had acans, so I couldn't really tell, mate. But
so I find they're pretty hardy, but I find that with acans and chalices and that, it can take a bit of time. They might lose a bit of colour. They may lose a bit of shape because you're right. You're going into a different tank. The tank that was in before might have completely different parameters, lighting, everything else. So long as they haven't shriveled up, I would just give it time. But I do find SPS or LPS, they can change, can't they? And then, they have a little sulk for a little while, and it could be they're sulking because of just a change in parameters. If you had said the other tank, I would have said probably because of the nutrients were too low. And I think in the nano, have you just got the one fish in the nano now?
No, mate, I've got 3.
You've got 3.
I've got a little yellow one. I don't even know what it's called, mate. I think it's
goby. Sulfur goby or something?
Yeah, it's like a little tiny, the smallest yellow little fish you could ever see, mate. I don't even know what it is. I seen it and I thought, I can't leave him here. You know what I mean? I'll put him in the nano, and he settled him right. All the guy at the shop said was all he'll do is he'll sit on your corals. You know where your corals, yeah? And he'll just sit on the rock and he'll just like wander around from each coral to coral, just like seeing him. And I'm like, is he reef safe? And he said, yeah. He won't grow much bigger, and it must be a centimetre, not even a centimetre, mate. It's like that. I'm like, oh my god. I thought he got sucked in. I thought he actually got sucked in the skimmer at first. I couldn't see him. I was that small. I was like, he's gone. He's gone in this kid. No,
so that sounds like it could be a sulfur. If you Google something like sulfur goby, it sounds like a goby or watchman goby. They're really small, so it could be one of those. But it sounds like you haven't got enough fish in the tanks. You got a combination of 3 fish, with which clown, and you got that small one and another one. You've obviously got some filtration in there. So you either got to reduce the filtration, stop the water changes, or get more fish, or a combination of those 3, I think, by the sounds of it, because you're just not getting enough nutrients. And of course, then your coral, your LPS are just going to hate it. And the longer that goes on, SPS probably won't be too much. There you go. Someone's put a yellow rock goby on that. So that, and then there's quite a few comments in there about the covers. So I had a peacock wrasse jump many moons ago, and I managed to, it jumped while I was there, so I put it back in, and since then I've used the DD jump guards. I like those. I prefer them to the Red Sea one. I did look at the Red Sea, and the Red Sea just looked really poor. It looked really plastic and looked really flimsy, so I went for the jump guard.
That's him.
Is that it?
That's him. The yellow rock goby. That's the one.
Yellow goby.
Well done, Colin.
Colin McCallum.
Nice one.
You get 10 out of 10. Go and get yourself a drink. Yellow rock goby. That's
a nice little fish. That is a nice little fish.
Mate,
actually, going back to the lids, Paul, I actually really liked the way that you had done yours with the little, on the cutout. I don't know if you just want to tell everybody how you done that.
Yeah, so on a lot of tanks, if you've got radians, you'll have the radian mounts, won't you? When you you can buy the cutter rounds, so you don't have to do it yourself. But the problem is there's quite a big gap in the cutter round between that and the back.
I think we've lost you, Paul.
Oh, it's gone, Anna. I know.
Musical statues.
I mean, I had a D&D lid, and not only has it stopped my fish, my radian, I don't know if you remember in the early days, so obviously the radian's not supposed to be on this tank, so I bought a 3D printed bracket, which then broke. The radian was going straight in the water, and it hit the mesh of the D&D lid, saved the 350 quid light, so I wouldn't be without a lid. Paul's back, I think.
Am I back? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you're back.
You're back now, mate.
Yeah, so basically in summer you can get a cut around from DD, and all I did was extend the netting across the piece that was open. So now I've got the netting across all of it, and it's worked really, really well. Because otherwise you'd probably get, I don't know, a couple of centimetres gap around the radian mount, which if you've got things like wrasse, they can squeeze through anything. So it worked really well. So Steve, I think you could do that on yours. I know you'd have a lot of cut arounds, but if you look at the cut arounds that you can get with them, and then when there's a gap, just put some netting around it, I think you'd be fine. So I don't think you'd have to do as many cuts as you think. But if you use the cuts that you can get with them that goes around the radian mat and things like that, you can adjust those, and I think you'd be all right. And I think it's whilst it's a bit of aggro up front, it saves the hassle and the of losing fish. It's just the fault.
Yeah, you see, that's it. We're like, because it's more like a rectangle. My tank, it's a rectangle. So it's obviously like it's a weird shape, but because I've got like a hang on the back filter, and I've got a hang on the back skimmer, and then I've got my light fixture, and then you know what I mean. But it's only a small tank. It's not. I think it's a little over 2 foot. I think just a little over 2 foot. So it's because there's so many corners and things you'd have to cut. That's the one thing what put me off it. And I thought, for the hassle of it, I'm only going to have a few fish. But now I wish to myself that I should have put one on. You know what I mean? That's our problem, is we complacent in it. We think it's not going to happen. But then when it does happen, then I was effing and jeffing me like, what a black all night, you know what I mean? Because I knew it was my own fault, you know what I mean? But I suppose
you went quiet on the chat for about 2 days. It just gets to you when you went something like that, doesn't it?
Mate, you gutted. People say, "Oh, it's only a fish. It's only it," but it's not. It's not just a fish, is it? It's still living. You know what I mean? I was like, I was peed off with myself more because I know that if I would have put a net on it, then I know that it would have stopped it. So you know what I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, you do get annoyed. You do get annoyed with yourself. But I must do something with it. I must get a cover.
So how do you pick a new
Adam Boyle? Sorry, Jay. Sorry. I know that Adam Boyle had actually made a custom, just basically put a net, and I don't know how he held it, but it looked like magnets or something, on each side of the glass to hold it on. You might be able to do something like that, mate. I don't know, but
yeah.
Aye. Could you move any of the equipment that's there on that tank, Steve, to try and make it, space it out a wee bit to make it fit?
Yeah, you could move. I suppose I could move like my skimmer down, further down towards me, so where I'm sitting now. And then you'd have more of a, how can I put it? You'd have more of an area, to be able to cut. So you could cut around a big shape, and then you've got a longer stretch, and then you've got a smaller cut. So you could easily do. I suppose I could do it that way. But at the moment, I just have it all up in the top corner, because
it's all condensed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all condensed. So it's just easier because they're all running there. Yeah, you've got the filtration coming out, so you've got the skimmer, taking it in. So it's all in that corner. So that's the only thing that was concerning. But thinking about it now, Ross, I could possibly move the skimmer further down here, I'd have to keep the light in the centre anyway. That's got to stay in the
centre. Yeah, I mean, you could keep the light in the centre, maybe move the skimmer an inch or so just to give you a bit in the corner to actually fit it onto.
Just to fit it, yeah. I think that might be my project this weekend, to be truthful. I might get one, go to the shop and pick one up, you know what I mean? But yeah, I need to go and see about a clownfish anyway, so while I'm there, I'll have a look.
Yeah. So I've got 3 cuts on mine because you got the weir in it's a Red Sea 450. You've got a cut around the weir, and then either side of that I've got XR30. So I mean that's big, it's 5 foot, but you still got 3 cuts on it. So to Ross's point, if you did that along the back, you might have 2 or 3 cuts, or maybe 2. I don't know what it would be on yours. And that would make it a lot easier. And you can make it cleaner because then the sides would be okay, the front will be all right, and you just got to mess around with the back. So it's only one side you're actually messing around with. So that way it wouldn't be as difficult. And then of course, if you've got power heads with wires, you've got to think about that. But you can do it in the corners. I think you can cut out the corner, and then the wire can just go in the corner. I've got MP40s on mine, so I'm okay. And all the tanks I've got on the DD, you can actually thread it through the back of the weir down and out the back, the wires, which is fantastic. You could do that. So that's something else to consider. But it might just be easier. But I wouldn't have a tank now without having a cover. It's too much risk because I don't know if it's at night or whether they get a bit shocked or they're asleep and bang, they go straight up and over. And even though clowns, I don't know if they're known for jumping. I've lost a clown through for it jumping as well on a different tank. So any of them can when they get a bit spooked.
Yeah.
Oh well. So is that everything for you, Steve?
Yeah. Other than that, mate. Yeah. That's about it. Oh, and another thing that I'm thinking of doing was, well, we've spoke about it before, is thinking of getting some T5 lighting. I did buy myself, which I mentioned last week, I think, the Senai Reef. I bought not to put it in the tank. I'm not bought it to put it in the tank. I just primarily bought it for the par meter on it. But I did measure my tank, and I might do a video on it actually. But I did measure it, and in the corners, even though I run 3 Hydra 26s, and I run it at 60% intensity, and I run it fairly bluish, throughout the day. I run it fairly blue. In the corners, it's only averaging around 120, 130 par. You know what I mean? In all 4 corners, which is quite shocking. You know, when I think about it. Now I could increase the intensity of it, I suppose, but then on the top of it, on the top where my SPS are, it's reading around 440, 460. So if you increase the intensity, that means then that it's going to be 600 plus up there. So it could do some damage, to them. So I don't know what I was looking at researching, and I seen the Aquatic Life T5s. And putting them. But the only thing is they don't do. All they do is the hanging brackets. Now I don't really want to suspend it from the ceiling. You know what I mean? Yeah. My ceiling is 12 foot high, 13 foot high. So it'll be an absolute nightmare, to try and hang them up. But that's the only option you can have for them. So Paul did mention about the Orphix as well. A few other people, but it's the same thing with them. It's suspending them. You can't suspend them. They don't come with hang on, on the side of your rim of your tanks. It's all about suspension, tying it with cable ties, and it just, for me, it just wouldn't work. So. Yeah. I don't know really. I don't know what to do, but I do think I need a little bit more lighting, at the fronts and the backs, just to give that even spread throughout it all. But something to look into, definitely.
Is 120 too low? Because LPS and softies, they don't mind that sort of range, do they?
No, well,
so generally.
Really. But on the average though, where it was on the average though, when I worked out, it was around the bottom, it was working out at around about. Yeah, in the corners, it was 120, 125. Then in the centre, where the main lights were shining, on the bottom, it was averaging about 160, 170.
Where the chalice is?
Yeah, where the chalice is, about 160, 170 around that area, yeah. But then just literally a further up, say mid-range, it was 260, 270, all across the board on the mid-range, which is a nice thing.
Yeah.
But then over the corner where the rock like bends around towards the back end, where even though it was high, it was only showing like 280, 290, and that was on the height. Whereas where my arch is, where my SPS is, it was showing 420, 430. So it's not evenly spread, the light. So that's why I'm thinking, do I need to just add some extra lighting? And I do know a guy who's, when he added the T5s on, his tank just basically blew up. With growth, it just took over. Running T5s and LEDs together, he said he'll never ever go back to just running LEDs. So
you get the spread, then you get the spread and you get the par. That's the good thing about TV, because I got the hybrid, the Aqua Life ones. You can get Giesman of that, and it's really good. I mean, I've got different problems with that tank. I just can't get SPS going, but it's lighting is not one of the issues. But I think Lucid Reef has said around you can get Giesman Stellar lights. You can get a mounting. Also, I thought Reef Bright. Is it Reef Bright? You see them more in America than UK. I think they do T5s, and that's on a mounting bracket that goes on the edge of the tank, a bit like the Giesman ones. But it's kind of pros and cons to.
See, this is the problem with the ones. The ones I wanted is the ones that actually sit on the side of your aquarium.
Yeah.
Mount on the aquarium. Yeah. Because I can't get around the back of my tank, so I can't get a drill to drill anything in, into the wood. Yeah. So even at the hanging brackets, I won't be able to get my hand around it to drill it in. It's impossible. Do you know what I mean? So other than to drain the tank out completely and take all the water out and try and move it that way, but you're risking it. Then you're just risking it.
It's not worth the aggro. Could you put brackets behind, but just above the level of the tank? Because you think probably about 12 inches is where the hybrids would need to hang from roughly. Yeah. And so therefore, could you, it may not look pretty good, but you could do brackets above the tank and then it comes up and over and down. That way you haven't got to get behind it. That's an option.
Well, you know what I looked at? Another one I looked at was with where my tank is in my living room, it obviously, like they all say, every one of them says, don't they, in all the manufacturers, that you should have a gap, to let ventilation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So my gap is a foot. It's a foot from the wall, my gap, yeah. So with it being 12 inches from the wall to the center of my tank, it's another like 12 inches, to the center.
Yeah.
Because it's 24 inch wide, yeah. So I was looking at getting a hanging bracket of 2 foot, to drill onto the wall, and do it that way, and getting a 2 foot hanging bracket, and then getting somebody to make a custom, like a custom surround, like
a hood. You can get a hood done for it, couldn't you?
Yeah, like a hood. Yeah, like a custom hood, and then hiding it all in there.
Yeah,
that was one thing I'm thinking, doing something like that. But when I've gone online, can you try and find me a 2 foot bracket, that like a steady, sturdy one that'll hold it? You know what I mean? Yeah, I can't see any, mate. I can't find any. So
really?
Could you not get somebody local to try and make you like a stainless steel one, like a fabricator? Somebody that does.
That's the only way. That's the only way it could possibly be. Is to get one made. It's got to be in the center. The metal, the bar, the bracket's got to be in the center, because I can't. Otherwise, you're shifting it and it just won't work. So it needs to be in the center. You know what I mean? But that's the only other option, Ross, is like you said, is to do is to get somebody to fabricate me some. 2 brackets, or maybe 3, just to make sure of the strength of it, holding it up. But,
I mean, I suppose that way you could actually like take your light in and say, this is what I need to mount. Here's what I want it to be. Give them all the sizes, and you could get it exactly as you wanted. Get it done in stainless steel or something, just so it's a bit nicer. And then,
like Gal said there, do what he's getting a man making him a bracket. That's the only way it could possibly be done. You know what I mean? It's true. They don't do brackets or normal stuff. Because I'm not being funny, who goes in and says, have you got a 2 foot hanging bracket? You know what I mean? Not many people will go in and say, have you got a 2 foot hanging bracket? So they just, obviously, they don't make them. You know what I mean? So that's the only other option, Ross, is like you said, is to get somebody to fabricate me some, maybe, and do it that way. But
there's a comment from Russell Brooks there saying he 3D printed side brackets to hang 4 hydras, and I know our 3-bar cost peanuts.
Would it be able to hold? Would it be able to hold an Aquatic Life T5 4 foot one with 3 LED lights in it as well? So think of the weight of that. How heavy is that going to be? You know what I mean? I'd love to know. I'm going to say what would you say, Paul? an aquatic life 4 foot with 3 lights in it? Would you say?
Mine's 3 foot, and I've got 2 XR15s as well. I don't know. I can find it. I would say no more. I don't know.
10 kilo.
You could look up. You could look at. Yeah, I'd say no more than 10 kilograms. I am guessing, but I think if you had a look, you could probably work it out in terms of. They say the weight of the units. They're pretty light. The actual hybrid T5 units are really light. I can't remember what it's made of, but it's not heavy material. And then it depends on your LEDs. And LEDs are not usually that heavy. So you could probably work out what you need. It probably wouldn't have to be that. And Colin's put on there about something fabricated, powder coated. You could probably get that. I think you can get someone who could do that. If fabrication or something like fit filtration or something like that. Yeah. Some of those guys may know someone who'd be able to do that. Or even speak to Dom. Dom might not have someone he may know. He might be able to help you and give you an introduction to someone who might be able to do that for you.
Yeah. It's definitely the way I'm thinking of going, to be truthful. But, definitely within the next couple of months, I reckon I think I just think it'll look. But I did see a friend of mine. He's got the actinic ones, and he's got the deep blue. Is it the royal blues or the deep blues or something? I think
it's royal blue, actinic. I can't remember the different ones. Yeah,
he's got 2 actinic, and he had the 2 blues with him. And he showed me, and the tank just looked totally different with him. It just looked totally different, the light. So it's definitely the way to go, I think, for my tank. You know what I mean? But we'll see how it goes. I definitely need to get that sorted first, and before I even think about buying one. So.
Yeah.
There's Russell's replied saying the span's covered by either 2020 or 4040 aluminium bar, so it must be 3D printed upstands at the end, and then the aluminium bar going across.
Ah, right. Wow, interesting. That would be great, something like that, mate. But like I said, that's it. That's all I need. All I need is that end point of that bar, to be in the center of my tank. That is all I need. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm working it out. It's roughly around about 2 foot away from the wall. From there to the center of my tank is about 2 foot, give or take an inch. You know what I mean? But that is exactly what I need. What I definitely need to be done first before I even think about buying one.
Yeah, that comment from Alan there. Obviously, I used to do the stock car racing, and there's 2 guys up here, Lee Smart Racing and ASD, who both do alloy stainless stuff, and their sport kit is fantastic. Obviously, it's up here that we need to post it down to you, but like Alan says, I can highly recommend both those guys, mate. Their work is phenomenal, to be fair.
Oh, splendid. You know what? Yeah. Definitely, I'll probably get in touch with him, mate. Or if you could find out the number, absolutely. Just to
I'll pass you their details, mate.
Yeah, just to see, see what they can do for me. Definitely that.
That's a good shout. Cheers, Alan.
Yeah. Just a couple of points from earlier on, Ross. A couple of people said about reef tops as a jump guard, and I've seen them on Facebook quite a bit. Their work is highly recommended. I can't remember what materials their lids are made of, but they certainly look really good if you look at their Facebook page. And also Haley's
put on there a polycarbonate type.
I think I think it might be. I don't think it's acrylic, because acrylic tends to sag in the middle on the kind of lids, because I've had one in the past. And also Haley's got a Red Sea one and said nothing wrong with it. I just prefer the D&D jump guard to the Red Sea, but I know people that got the Red Sea ones and they're happy with it. But the reef top ones look really, really good when you see how they're fitted. A bit more expensive, but
I think they're really pricey, aren't
they? I think I got a quote for the Red Sea 170, about 120 quid posted. I think compared to a DD jump guard, I don't know how much that would be on a 2 foot, maybe 35 quid, 40 quid. So you're paying maybe 2-3 times more, but it's quality again, though, isn't it? Because they look the business.
I appreciate that. That would be fantastic, mate. I appreciate it.
I think, Jay, you had bought a different top for yours, didn't you? One of the acrylic ones.
Yeah, I bought. What was it? The one I got, the one from America.
Was it a Kraken one or?
No, it's from America, direct.
Yeah, there's a Kraken company in America that makes them, though. A different one from Dawn.
Right, okay. No, it wasn't Kraken. It was Clearview lids.
Clearview, yeah.
Yeah, it's here. So I went all right. It wasn't cheap. It cost me a few £100. This did.
Yeah.
And So it was like skeleton with the mesh in, bespoke, obviously with the window and things. But when I put it on the tank, I'll just put it on the tank now. It just looks naff, to be honest.
You get a bit of like the light kind of dissipates through the side of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. By the way, Adam Boyle, yeah, I've been using AB+. That's why my tank's a little bit yellow, yeah. I thought I'd put the makeup on the corals before everybody joined the live stream.
Nice. Yeah, I must admit, Jay, I'm not overly keen on that lid, to be honest with you, mate.
I know. So this what happened was I bought it. Well, my wife bought it for Christmas. And then someone in the comments when I made the video went, you know what? I actually prefer the D&D lid. And you know when someone plants that seed and you know and you know deep down that they're right, and you
made a mistake.
I was like, damn, yeah. You can see it doesn't sit as flush. I'll take it nearer. And it just doesn't go as well as the D&D one.
It just looks too busy for a smaller tank. It might look better on a 2, 3, 4, but you look at it and you think, wow, that looks really complicated for something that, I mean, I don't know what the dimensions are of the nano. Is it 2 foot or 1.5 foot wide?
It's basically 2 foot by.
Yeah. It is.
It put a little D&D one on, and it just doesn't look as imposing.
Yeah.
It looks clean.
It looks cleaner, doesn't it? That's
the thing
so
much cleaner.
Yeah,
I much prefer the DD ones.
Yeah. So it's just down here at the moment. But if anyone wants a bit of price for a nano lid, then they can buy it on this live stream.
There we go. We'll auction it off to the highest bidder.
We'll auction it off. Yeah. There is only one reason why I've kept it, and that's because holidays, because it's got a door in it for feeding. I'm looking at buying an auto feeder for holidays. That's the only reason why I've kept it, but maybe it won't be any good for that either. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So what is your plans, Jay, for holidays then? What are you planning on doing with the tank?
I don't really know. So this is it's not something I've looked up yet. I need to learn a lot about this. But I'm just trying to calculate how long I can be away without, my phosphate going mad or something else going wrong. Yeah. I think probably 7 days is doable in the summer because I've got the larger auto top off and stuff like that. But if anybody can recommend an auto feeder that works for them, that they know. What holidays?
Fair point.
No, I live for holidays. I absolutely love a holiday, and I just need some advice because I've never left a tank ever. So I think that might be a topic of conversation that people could help me out a lot with because I don't know anything about it really.
Yeah. So I use the Apex one, and I've got an Eheim one, and I prefer the Eheim feed that it's battery operated to the Apex one. I know it's expensive because you've got to pay for that and you've got to pay for the Apex. But the Eheim one, I can't remember how much it is, 30, 40 quid. Might have gone through the roof now, but I just found it was really easy to use. You stick the batteries in it, you put it on, you work out how much you want to feed each time, how many spins it has, you put it on timer when you're away. What I did do, I used it for a week before I went, so I was able to get the measurement right and everything else. So one thing I would do is test it for a few days before whatever your setup is going to be. And it was fine for me. I've been away for 10 days before with 3 tanks, and all the tanks will be all right. Other than you come back and your glass, you can't see it. And you think, oh my God, what's happened? And then you clear it and you realise everything's all right. So that's one I use.
I like that tip. Just kind of having a free run.
I've got a guy. I'm hiring a guy to come in and do mine. A friend.
A company or a friend?
Yeah, company. Yeah. Well, it's not. He's just started out. He's a young chap. He knows his stuff, and he's only had the company about a year. And I actually met him at my local LFS, and I was just chatting to him, and I just said to him like, "What do you do?" You know what I mean? And he told me, he said he was just started up a maintenance company for freshwater, saltwater, and stuff like that. Tanks. So I was like, "Oh right, interesting." So then I said to her, over the time I've been talking, because my brother gets married, you see, in August. So obviously with it being hot and with it being, you're going to get a lot of evaporation and stuff. So just to make sure I needed, and plus I'm not being funny, you don't really need to feed your fish every day. You know what I mean? Your fish can get fed once every 2 days. They don't need to be fed every day. Yeah. So, so for me, I said to him, just come in like every couple of days just to check, on the tank. And he said, absolutely no problem. So he's going to do that. He's giving me a price, which is a reasonable price. And
I was going to say, do you mind saying how much it is or not?
Well, for the 2 weeks, he's charging me £100 for the 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's good. I know it's a lot of money, but for you think how much you got invested in tank, £100 for it to be all right. I think it's fine. So the other thing
So he's going to come in. So he's going to come in every 2 days, isn't it? So it's going to be like he's only going to turn up for 3 hours. So I told him my whole system, So he knows I run the Apex. He knows I've got the the KH keeper. He doesn't need to do any water testing or anything like that. He doesn't have to do water changes. All he's basically doing is coming in, cleaning the glass, feeding the fish, making sure that me RO unit is filled up, me RO buckets are filled, and basically just having a general look around the tank. So really, he's going to be in the house all of maybe 10 minutes. So he's going to do that 4 times a week or whatever it will be. That's 40 minutes. So when you look at it like that, and he's getting paid, that's 40 minutes a week. So it's 80 minutes overall, and he's getting £100 in it. So it's not a bad footy, is it? You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it.
When you've got £4 grand worth of corals or £3 grand, it's
absolutely
it's worth it.
Snip, isn't it? Have you got a camera on? Are you going to have a Wi-Fi camera on it?
No, I haven't got a camera on it. No.
Yeah, I'm going to get a Wi-Fi camera.
Yeah. Well, I do.
You can pick them up off Amazon for cheap.
Yeah,
I do have, the ring cameras. For the
yeah.
So and I have seen that they do the ring the camera which can go on a shelf, stand on a shelf and be plugged in. So right where my tank is, there's an actual shelf there. So I reckon I might buy one, plug one in, and then I could just monitor it from the ring, from the ring app and do it that way. You know what I mean? Maybe do it something like that. So.
I mean, there's Gaugo saying as well that he does that. So he's got webcam monitors and can auto feed remotely. And then he's also said he's got sump cam, so you can watch the sump system well away for the house. Good idea.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's one idea. I think the other thing I do, if I have people feed the tank, I put the food for each day in a separate pot, because people get really overzealous when they're feeding the tank. And if the guy comes in, he won't know how much to feed. So I think if you was to do that, and then you know exactly how much you need to go in, because the number of people you read about where they've had people come in and the fish look hungry, so they throw it in every day. You come back and the FOS has gone through the roof. Your fish are all right; they're nice and fat, but your corals have died or they've stripped or they've gone all brown. So and no one really knows how much to feed other than you as an individual, because you're the one who knows your tank. So that's one thing, definitely. Someone's put there, they use pill pots. I use the little pots that you get with the Red Sea AB, those kind of things, and you just line them up and you do it. My mum done it a couple of times, God bless her soul, and she was so stressed out doing my tank. They had to top up the walls. I had to feed it every day. I just said, no, Mum, you're not going to do that anymore. And that was when she had the pots and things like that. But if you're going to get someone in, I would do that.
That's another thing. What I forgot to mention. With him coming in, this is another thing, is that I've got to write down, because I do the formula of the ABV of the aquaforest or the aquaforest.
Yeah.
I do that daily. So obviously for 2 weeks, I think the tank might feel it, for the 2 weeks. So I've just got to write down exactly what he's got to put in. Yeah. So it's 7 drops of each. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard. 7 drops of each. Yeah, and 2 spoonfuls of the powder. So it's neither here there, so he's not going to get confused with that. So he's just going to do that every day as well. You know what I mean? So, for me, it just gives that peace of mind, because, God forbid, I don't know about yous, but every time I'm out of this house, if I stay away, something always goes wrong. So like the electricity will go out or something, or I get a surge and I get a notification and I'm like, what the heck? You know what I mean? It just drives me absolutely insane. So, to get just that peace of mind for somebody to come into the house. My mum and dad have said, like your mum there, Paul. Yeah, my mum and dad said, do not ask us to come and look at your tank, check on your tank. Yeah, we are not doing it, and we are not being held responsible for it. This is what they say. So I can
Fair enough,
appreciate
though.
that.
Yeah,
And it is, you know what I mean. Asking people, it puts a lot of pressure on people, doesn't it? You know, to come
Yeah,
up
it
with
does.
a tank. And I don't want to put pressure on people saying, oh, it's all right. Me and saying to them, oh well, if someone dies, I'm not going to be, you know, I won't be back bothered. But if the Rainbow Chalice died, yeah, and then I'll be blaming them and I'll be saying, you better give him money back, mum and dad. You know what I mean? So they won't be best pleased. So they say they're staying away from it. They're not doing it.
Yeah.
They're not doing it.
So a couple of comments here, Jay. Everybody's saying, you know, that's been an hour. We've still not got any test results yet. You're looking like you're enjoying yourself there under that desk. So what's going on?
It's just ballsed up. I don't know what's happened to it. It's not worked.
Oh no! How long did that take? Was that 40 minutes?
Going well. That's years of practice. That is years of practice.
So was that
the nitrate one you were doing?
I need to do it again, but I'm not doing it now. I can't bother anymore. I'll wait till tomorrow.
I had to laugh actually. I seen the other day somebody had posted up they were selling a nitrate Hannah checker. They'd only used it once, and I thought, yep, that makes sense. Totally understand that.
Oh God! I mean, just look at the state of this here. Look.
Our tank's sick for you. The bounce mushroom mate tank.
Who's got a bounce?
Paul UK Reefers. Paul UK Reefers got a good offer for you, Steve.
Hey, I appreciate it. I can't take you up on it though, mate. I've signed a contract.
I think it is a really good idea though, folk, you know, offering a service to come and look after the tanks, because I mean I've not seen anything like that up my way. I know that for sure. So, you know, it's probably something that could take off quite in a big way. I think because you know, people during lockdown have set up a lot of tanks. You know, myself, Jay. There's loads of people have set up tanks, and now, I mean, my missus said the other day, "What do we do when we go on holiday?" And I went, "Well, I don't know."
A few people in the past year have seen, not just on Instagram and stuff, but like just when I used to post a lot on Facebook and stuff, you know, things like that, yeah. And people were actually, and I had my email on it, and people were actually messaging me, and they thought I actually owned a company, and asked me, you know, a maintenance company, and saying, could you set me up a tank? Could you do this? And I never thought there was like a big market for it, but I could actually show you maybe 10 or 15 people who said, could you set me up a reef tank? And I'm like, no.
You go around and do it?
Yeah, set them up a whole reef tank. They thought like I could set it up, and I had a business because it was like Mogsy's aquarium. So they thought like I had a business, you know what I mean? And I said, oh, I'm not a business, mate. I went, I'm not a business. It's just like a YouTube thing. I just post pictures on Facebook and stuff. And it was like, oh, sorry, we you know, we thought that you set tanks up, but there's definitely a market out there. And like you said, over this COVID, I think more and more people have definitely set tanks up. You know, even just like, you know, like yourselves, nano tanks. You know, just something different to get into the hobby. And now when they get hooked on it, they buy a bigger tank, and that's when maintenance guys will come into their own. You know what I mean? Well,
that's the thing. I mean, even with the tank that I've got just now, I mean, if we go away to America, we go away for 3 weeks. So, you know, what can I do for 3 weeks if I'm away? You need somebody to come in and look after that.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what do you do for your lizards and all that, Ross, or those things behind you?
So, believe it or not, I can actually throw in. So that's 2 tree frogs, and I can throw in a couple of boxes. It's little locusts that I throw in. So I can throw in a couple of boxes of locusts open, and that'll last them for 2-3 weeks, no problem. And the water's on an automatic system, so it mists in water. So I've got almost like an ATO type thing that has like a rain system in it. So they're fine, and they're all right. And the dogs go to the kennel, so it's really easy actually.
Bloody hell, right?
But yeah, the aquariums is going to be a different ball game.
Yeah,
you might be surprised, Ross. There may be someone local. I mean, I've seen a van come around our local area, and I know of 2 houses they go to. They maintain tanks. I know one's a reef tank. I don't know if the other one's freshwater, because the guy does both. So if you look it up, there might be someone who does that. I think there are a lot of areas, because you do see it on Facebook. People saying, especially if they're local groups, saying, "I'm going away. I need someone to maintain. Does anyone know a company that does it?" Blah blah blah. So you might be lucky if you want to do that.
Don't think you do it down in London. The Charterhouse, Paul. Don't they do maintenance?
They do, do maintenance. I don't know if they just do holiday cover, because where they used to be based in East London was only a stone's throw from Liverpool Street in a city. So they used to maintain a lot of tanks, and then move further out. But I think they still do that. So a lot of their business, I think, from when I used to use them, was contract work. They'd set up tanks, and you still see pictures of them setting up tanks. But there's a few around here that do it. Some LFS. Not so many now, but they do installations, whether they do maintenance as well. But it's quite a big market. I think a lot of them do both freshwater and saltwaters or marine as well, for the simple reason there's more people doing in the hobby of freshwater. It's a bigger market than marine. Yeah. So I think that's why they do it.
Where's the host gone? I've only gone for a beer. Where's he gone? Where the hell's
He's got to look up to see if there's any maintenance companies around.
Oh my God, he's dropped out, has he?
Yeah,
I know. He's obviously worried about his tank.
You got too much for him, Jay. You got too much for him.
I know. As soon as you said we couldn't go to Florida, he's gone off, hasn't he? He's gone to break the news to his missus. Right, we're not going away to Florida this year. Unlucky. Oh dear. Is that the third? I've had a few more actually today.
Hello, Ross.
Apologies, my internet completely crashed there, guys. Sorry.
no problem.
Tell you what.
We thought you bottled it.
No, it's back.
You get free internet in Scotland.
That's the only thing we don't get free, mate. Yeah.
You get free water. You get free water. Free universities. Free.
I think at this point it's only fair that we introduce our guest for the night.
Oh, is he here?
So, he is here. He's waiting patiently in the wings.
He's in the wings.
Now, the thing is, has he had a haircut? This is the question. Do we think he has? Do we think he hasn't?
I'm going to say no.
No?
I don't think he has.
No, I think no as well.
Think his ears lowered.
Yeah. Okay, so drum roll. Here we go. Our guest for tonight. Welcome, Neil. There he is.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
I'm good, lads. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Well, I was good and started testing my fish tank, and it's all gone to pot.
I can't believe it. I saw that. It's like 2 points.
I don't know what. I was just getting comfortable as well, Neil. I was just in the cruising mode, and I thought everything was going fine, and then all of a sudden, water tests say different. So
it's just crazy. You just leave it for a week or so before I've done it, and then before you know, it's yeah. I mean,
well, Ross won't leave it for 3 weeks. That sounds it.
Water change to sort that out, though, won't it?
Yeah, water change. I might do one tomorrow. Not got much else on really. I don't think.
It's just what you guys were saying. That the thing that worries me more than anything is going on holiday. Because obviously since I've had the tank, I haven't been away. I've been and it's really worrying me now. I'm starting to think like to the point. I'm hoping to get a sitter, like someone to house sit whilst I'm there.
Yeah.
There's my brother-in-law. Sorry, not my brother's brother-in-law is he's got a freshwater tank. I think it's quite a large one, and he's I'm thinking of having him to come and house sit for me, and I'll just show him like how everything works, because I just don't think I'd enjoy myself on holiday just knowing that just knowing that something can go wrong.
Yeah, I was like that the first time, and then after that, I just didn't worry about it because I can't do anything about it. I dare not get a camera because I'd probably be looking at it all the time. And what happens if you're the kind of other side of the world or whatever, and all of a sudden you see, live something's going wrong with the tank, and you can't do anything about it? It'd be like in slow mo, wouldn't it? You go no, kind of thing. So I'd rather not do it.
Well, I mean, even just this week, I come down this morning and the water levels dropped an inch on the tank. And I just can't work out.
Yeah.
So
It's a lot of evaporation.
No. It's basically I've looked at the sump and I thought maybe one of the girls had messed with the Vectra. The Vectra's on the outside and turned the pump down a bit. And I thought it's not that, so I had to play with it. Then I thought then I thought it was like the valve, so I just tried adjusting the valve, and that brought it back up again. But then it just drained all the water from the return chamber, and I just couldn't figure it out. But the only thing it can be, it used to do it with the TMC pump, and that must. I think it's the. I think the Vectra must need cleaning already, because what I used to find with the TMC is when it would sort of like get a bit clogged up, it would just slow it down, and then the water level would drop, and then you clean it, and then it would just sort itself back out. But I only got it a week or two ago. It only feels like I've had it a week. But,
mate, it's all the trend. The shallow reef is all the trend. You just doing it.
Yeah, but you don't want to beat some though, do you?
Trend.
Oh God, it's just that's it panics you when you go away. So I think if that happened when I'm away, the skimmer keeps on cutting out every 5 minutes. That little skimmer guard, you need to get one of them. They're amazing. When the skimmer
on your video, up, the D&D monitor.
Yeah, I think it's called DD skimmer guard or something like that. It's called. I forget what it's.
So how does that work, Neil?
Yeah, so basically it's a little chip. Has anyone got one of you have got the DD ATO, haven't you? Is it?
Yeah.
I've got it, mate, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you got the same one as me, Ross, and basically, that little light, that little sensor.
Yeah.
Basically you put it inside the skimmer cup, and it's like the magnet. And what happens is you then plug your skimmer into this other plug, and you plug that into the wall, and the plug socket. And then when your skimmer cup gets to a certain level, it hits the sensor and it cuts the skimmer out. So
that's a good
skimmer
idea.
doesn't overflow. It's a good bit of kit, and it's really cheap as well. So. But
so Neil, is that an add-on, Neil, or is it something that comes? Because I got the DD the 400i, and it's built into that. To your point, it goes up a tube and then it cuts out if it overflows, that kind of thing. So so you can buy it as an add-on?
It's a separate package. Yeah, it's just it comes in a little box, little DD. It's just called DD skimmer guard, I think it is.
Oh, okay.
I suppose you can use it on anything, but you put it in the inside of this skimmer cup, and it's to be honest, it goes off at least twice a week. I hear it like, when it cuts out, it will sound an alarm, so then the skimmer's gone, and then all you got to do is just second you empty that out, it turns the skimmer back on again. But it saved me a few times, because I used to have it before when I open it up and it will be foaming everywhere, and the ATO is kicking in.
Any of you boys do the latest oil in the skimmer cup trick?
No, I've seen it.
I heard something about that.
Yeah, oil in the skimmer cup trick. I haven't got a skimmer, I have, but it's tiny.
Is that olive oil or something?
Yeah,
olive oil on the inside of the cup. Where it comes up. Yeah, just on the inside, and then on the outside. Yeah. And then once it comes down, when it hits the oil, it slides straight down into the cup.
Doesn't foam
up. You get the foam. Yeah. When you get the foam, you get the foam. The foam sometimes sits in the cup and at the top, doesn't it? Yeah. But when it hits the oil, it goes straight down into the actual cup. But you don't get it on the inside. You don't put the oil on the inside, because otherwise it won't. The bacteria won't be able to attach to it, and you know what I mean. So
Nathan Willard made a good video on it about 2 weeks ago.
That's it. I knew I saw it somewhere. I love Nathan's channel.
Yeah, it did look good.
So, silly question: what's wrong with the bubbles staying at the top? Because they eventually go over. Have I missed something?
Push the lid up.
Right. Okay.
You make a noise.
Right.
It makes a noise.
Right. So you get many, and it starts to make it to rattle because it. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could have done that. Could have done with that skimmer guard a few weeks back when my skimmer just suddenly went crazy after 2 years. And I
was going to say that, yeah.
I don't usually change my skimmer for like 10 days or something, because I've roughly got an idea that after 10 days I'll tip it out, because it's usually 3/4 full. So I usually do it then. Well, I came down and I was like, what the hell? And it just looked a bit murky. And I was like, I'll check the thing, open the cabinet, and all the skim, and I skim thick. Yeah. It's not a wet skim. and all of it had come out all into my sump. And I was like, oh my God, the whole lot. For some reason, my skimmer went crazy. I don't know why it went crazy. It just went mad. And it
so many things can do that. It's that AB
I've had my skimmer for 2 years, Neil. Do you know what I mean?
Sorry,
2 years, and I've had my skimmer for 2 years, the Nios 120, and it's always run perfect. Never over skimmed. And that one day when I had like a 3/4 full, it over skimmed. You know what I mean? It's just I don't know what it was to this day. Really
they are known for doing that though, because I've got the 120 and the 160, and every so often it might be once a year, maybe hardly ever. All of a sudden it'll just go mad. It'll just spew everything over the top. All the sump is all full of the crap and everything else, and then I end up having to raise the skimmer a little bit for it to settle down. And I'm not the only one, because I have seen people online. It happens, and there's it's a superb skinner. The amount of bubbles you create out of it is it's excellent. And I've had one for 6 years, and the other one for 5 years. So touch wood, I would say they're pretty pretty long lasting as well. They really are good ones.
Skimmer.
Yeah,
fantastic skimmer. They are. From day one, the moment I put it in my 170, I thought it's gonna, because you hear of it, don't you? You're gonna get loads of bad. It's gonna overskim. It's gonna overskim for a week or two, settle in, blah blah blah. And from day one, the moment I put it in, it never ever overskimmed. It didn't. It just settled in straight away. And I was like, oh my God, this is easy. This. And then lo and behold, the moment you take complacency, you take your mind off things, thinking it's not going to happen, and then things happen, don't it? That's what happens.
AB Plus can cause it as well. I use the AB Plus. I think Jay uses it as well. You're supposed to turn the skimmer off for about half an hour.
I used to turn the skimmer off for an hour when I used to do that, because it just skims it out and it's got no use to it. I think that's what the reason behind it. But it does go a little bit mad on the basis of that as well. But if you switch it off for an hour, I don't know, it's half hour or an hour. I've always done an hour. There's no reason why I've done it, Neil, for an hour. I just thought, well, just do it for that, and I've always been okay. In the past.
Do you do it for phyto as well? Because I dose phyto as well, and when I do that, I turn it off. I think you're supposed to do it for that as well, but it will just go crazy if you leave it on, apparently.
Well, when I dose my phyto, in my tag, I dose it twice a week, and I only primarily dose it for the for the clams. Basically, it's to spot feed the clams, so that's and maybe like the scully or something, some things like that, and the lobo. I just basically just spot feed them, but I never turn my skimmer off, and I've never had an issue with them. It just never whatsoever. The only thing I did used to turn it off for was when I was doing the Red Sea A and B plus. But it recommends that anyway, to turn it off half an hour before and leave it off.
It goes wild with this AB plus, doesn't it?
But I used to leave it off for an hour, and it was good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Reefroids is the same. If you dose, anyone doses Reefroids, you're supposed to turn it off for that, because it'll go crazy with that as well.
That always sends my phosphate up. I don't know why, but for it always, I use it sparingly. I use it very, very little. Maybe I'm overdosing. I don't know. It could be I'm just putting too much in there. But next time I check it, I can guarantee my phosphate has gone up through using that. So I don't bother.
I use it once a week, but if anyone that uses it, like you say, it will raise your phosphate, and your nitrates, I think, as well. As Jay's got his AB plus. Do you keep yours in the fridge, Jay?
Yeah, I keep in the fridge. But I ran out, so I've just got a new delivery. But like I say, I wanted to put the corals on show tonight, so I gave them a bit of a AB plus before I came live. Hoping that they'd show up more colour, but actually it's just turned the tank yellow. That's it. Too much.
Such a real bright green, isn't it, when you pour it?
Yeah, it is.
That's another good point by that Stefan there. Just going back on your other one there, was another thing. But when I used to run the filter floss, if I just took the filter floss out of the bag, whichever filter floss it was, and just stuck it in the sun, the skimmer would go absolutely crazy then,
Does,
Whereas, what I learned was to rinse the filter floss off in RO water, rinse it off in RO water, get whatever might have been on it, and then stick it in the sump, and it seemed to be okay. Never skimmed, never over skimmed. Some
Someone just put you just turned bright red, Ross. What was going on there? You look like
I don't know what it is. So
He didn't turn his skimmer off.
right. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
bright red.
I'm on an iPad at the moment, so I can't see any of the comments. So I can only see the ones that are coming up. So if anyone's putting
okay.
I can only see the ones that are coming up.
So how's things been anyway, Neil? Have you had a busy week? What's been going on with your tank?
Yeah, well, obviously I had the issue with the water level, so I was playing around with that for a few days. I had a little. I bought a few corals this week. I had one turn up, an online one. I don't usually buy online, but I was on a live stream on Sunday, and the guy needed he needed somebody to buy a coral to hit his target or something. I can't. You were on it, weren't you?
I know who you mean. Yeah, Ryan, Prestige Reef.
So
he bought some candy canes, wasn't it?
Buy a coral, and I thought I don't usually buy online, but I've had a little scout. I thought I want a neon green candy cane. So it's only a little tiny thing like that. So I bought that, and that come I think on Wednesday, and I went to Reef Dreams today to get my water, my RO. I've gone back to the LFS now.
No, have you gone back? You've left Spotless.
Yeah, I've gone back. Yeah,
Give up on it.
Yeah, well,
there's some dodgy stories around it.
I mean, Spotless water is like for all I know, it's perfect. But I just I was hearing some things, so I've gone back to the LFS. But I went in there for the first time today for like ages. He let me in, so and I bought.
Was you banned or something?
I got banned after the tour I done on my channel. It's funny actually. I got in there today, and I started doing a little video, and then he comes in. He's like, "Oh mate, you got to ask if you're going to do videos." And obviously the tank's got to be in pristine. He's like, he said, "Oh, you have to, let me know in advance," sort of thing. So. But the tanks always look great when I'm in there. But anyway, I bought I think it's like 3 heads. It's an Indo blue tip torch.
Nice.
So it's like real bright green with like blue tips.
Nice.
It looks really nice actually. So it's quite a good size as well.
Oh, Reef King's frogfish has died. Oh no!
That's not good.
Sorry, mate.
No, that can't be right. Come on, mate. Frogfish has died.
It's he's got that.
I've never seen one ever before. There must be quite.
You know what? They're so crazily mad looking. They are, yeah.
Yeah.
They just like when they get bigger, they don't grow big, huge. But anything that comes near the gob and they can fit it in the mouth, they'll eat it. You know what I mean?
Right.
No matter what, that's just the way they are. You know what I mean? They just feed on live food, I believe. But yeah, gutted, mate.
Anyway, how's Houdini, Neil? I'm so jealous of Houdini.
Oh yeah.
Right,
you're looking after it well.
He's still alive, so I'm just looking at him. Yeah, he's wondering why I'm sat right next to the tank. But
he's the coolest fish. He's the coolest fish ever.
Hey, you could get one in that tank, no problem. You should just get one.
Yeah, I want to get one, but I think it's going to be my last edition. And with you were really cautious with putting it in the tank and things, weren't you? And trying to climatize it to your tank and things. I think that's what I need to do with mine if I get one.
We should do a foreign exchange.
Not cheap either, about 200 quid.
I reckon we should do a foreign exchange. You send me your rainbow chalice for a week and I'll send you
That's a good trade-off there, mate.
Neil, it needs water, mate. You haven't got any water in yours. But yeah, I'm definitely going to copy Neil at some point and get the jawfish. I think they make me smile when the way they look. They just make me smile when I look at one.
He's got so much character. I've never known a fish like it. And the blue spots on it. I'm going to pick it up on the camera now probably, but because the blue's on. But the blue spots they become fluorescent at night.
Wow.
So they like glow up. It's crazy. I've never known. He's just all over the place. One day he's in one corner, then he's in the other corner, then he's Then he's made a dead little den somewhere else.
He did make me laugh when you said he had some real estate all over the tank. Various different places. What do you feed him, Neil? What do you feed him?
I feed I feed the same thing, which is garlic mysis, and I put 2 cubes of that in a day, and 1 cube of the vegetable gamma for my yellow tang. So I just mix all that together in a tub and then put that in the fridge, and then I'll do 3 feeds a day. I'll do 1 feed about 2, 1 feed at 6, and 1 feed at 8. But yeah, I've sort of like since my nitrates, I was worried they're going to bottom out. I've chucked another cube in now, so I've near enough doubled the amount of food.
You haven't got too many bio balls. That was one we looked at the other day, right?
Yeah. Well,
how many balls have you got, Neil?
Sorry.
How many balls have you got?
I've got a load in there, mate. I've plenty of.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Crashes your nitrates, but I don't know.
Just looking at the comment on here, there's a great video. If you look at Advanced Aquarium Consultancy, he's got a pair of cuttlefishing that Paul has for that's going out to one of his customers. Oh my god! If you look at the video, it's just unbelievable in terms of that. I didn't realise what they were to begin with, but thanks, Stefan, for putting that comment.
Octopuses, don't they? Or squids, or
I haven't seen that video. To be fair, I need to have a look for it.
Have a look at it. It's superb.
It's not a hoax, is it?
No,
it's not. Paul gets all kind of weird and wonderful fishing on for order. So he's the kind of fish you get. You look at it and think, oh my god, that's the kind of thing you see in Blue Planet.
Yeah. Did you see the mandarin? Was it? It was like a really bright rainbow for.
Yeah, that was an April Fool's.
April Fool's, yeah. It did look amazing. I was like, oh my god, look at that fish.
Jay was looking at buying one.
It was really bright coloured. I was like, I'm in here. What's this? I've never seen one. been in the Zoa studio. That one.
Why? When I think of cuttlefish, I associate it with the little thing I used to buy from my budgie when I was a kid. You know, to sharpen their beak on. It's like I think it's like the bone of the fish. It's got this great.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Thing going.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
it's like a big white kind of bone as such, isn't it?
Sorry?
Yeah.
It's like a big kind of white oval-shaped bone, is that right?
But I think that's like that. That's like the spine of it or something. I think it's.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There's Colin McCallum saying they've got a short lifespan.
Right. Yeah, I don't know enough about them. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.
Your yellow tank's worth about £200, Neil, at the moment.
Yeah, I'm thinking of getting rich.
Yeah, that's the going rate for a yellow tank at the moment, apparently.
Yeah. You'll see it next week. I'll be no tang there, but there'll be a nice
challenge. So Neil, what made you start out in the hobby?
That's a good question. Right, so I was just watching TV one day, and I turned the channel on, but I turned the wrong channel on, and it was that program. I don't know if you've seen it, called Tanked.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It's really good. Basically, they're based in Las Vegas. An American, they make acrylic tanks, and they do all the tanks for all the Hollywood and rich and famous people in America, and they have some like crazy tanks, and it's all salt water. So I started watching that, and I series linked it, and I just started watching them, and I was getting really into it. So then I started watching like YouTube videos of like, people's tanks and things, and I was watching all like, all the big, like YouTubers, and a few of them were on here actually. Probably I think I saw Alex and Carl on there. I was just watching more and more of them, and it got to a point where I was saying to the missus, I think I'm going to buy one. So went to a few shops, LFS's, started talking. But then I didn't know nothing about tanks or reefing or anything. But I knew what I wanted, and I wanted a porcupine puffer. And I was adamant I was going to have a porcupine puffer. So I went to like Reef Dreams. I said I want a tank, and and I looked at it, and we ended up going for the TMC one. But I said, I definitely want a porcupine. He was, it's a bit small for that. I said, no, that'd be fine. I won't put much in there. So, but obviously they're not reef safe. So he was explaining to me, like, you can't have corals. I was like, I wanted both. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a nightmare because I really wanted both. But I really was adamant I was going to get. In the end, he said, look, you can't have that porcupine puffer. It will grow like a foot. So we agreed on what's called a web burrfish, which is it's like a spiny puffer, which still looks really cool if you look at one. So I said, I'm going to have one of them. But I said I wanted corals. So he said, I can order you in like these synthetic corals, and they're like plastic. They're like plastic, like rubber corals. All right. If you look at I think if anyone's got my Instagram, you'll see. I think you'll see it. It was on there. It was one of the first ones I put like a throwback of what my tank looked like. And it's so basically we set it up with all these synthetic corals in. And it was like crawling with like SPS, like, and all these bright colours. Look, to be honest, I'll be honest, it looked really good when it was done. So then we was like, we'll add some clownfish because the kids wanted clowns. So we put the clowns in there, and then it got to a point that we're like, oh, Daddy, can we have this? It's like crabs. No, the port, the puffer eat it. Oh, Daddy, can we have this? Shrimps. No, it'll eat it. So basically, it got to a point that everything we wanted, we couldn't have because of that one fish. So we didn't end up, cut a long story short, we didn't end up getting that fish. We just ended up having a community tank. But then I was stuck with all these rubber corals. And the problem is with them is that the algae, like obviously, you don't get algae on a live coral, but on a synthetic one, like it looked amazing, but towards going a few months in, it was just looking all green and they looked awful. And I just took them out. Just got one day, just ripped them all out, and they weren't cheap either. They're I reckon about 300 quid for all of them. But took them all out, and then I started like getting all the bits, like the phosphate reactor and all the bits. And then I think my first coral was the LA Lakers Zoa frag. Just a little frag of it. And then you know what it's like, once you get one, you just get the bug. And just kept buying more corals. And, as you go along, you just gain more experience in the hobby, But I was a novice, I didn't know nothing. And I still don't.
What's your favourite coral, Neil?
Favourite I've got, do you mean? Or
Yeah.
I always used to love Zoas. I like the Zoa garden, but I would say probably my neon green hammer, I would say at the moment.
It's nice.
But that new one I got's quite nice as well. But I think
has the torch come out yet, Neil?
Yeah, it has. Yeah. It's
out
really
already,
fast.
is it?
Within, I dipped it and everything. It was out within probably. Let's see if I can show you. I don't think it.
Yeah. What are you drinking there, Steve?
You all right?
What are you on tonight? You're like on the hard stuff there. Oh, wow, look at that.
Nice.
Yeah, so it looks all right. It's
that looks really nice.
That's nice, mate, yeah.
That's my favourite one now in your tank.
Sorry, mate.
I've watched your channel from whenever I've watched it from the beginning, and you've always had that tank. Was that your first tank, Neil, or did you have another one before that?
Yeah, it's my first tank, and I will upgrade one day. It's one of those. I think if we move,
you went quite big first of all, then, didn't you? You went quite big. You went all in.
Well, yeah. I mean, they kind of said with the nanos, they're harder for me. But the guy Sean at the Reef Dream said the smaller the tank, the harder it's going to be to look after. He was trying to get me to do a 4-foot one, but I ended up going for the 3-foot one. But I think when I move next time if we get a bigger house, I think rather than take this one with me, I'll just go straight for the upgrade then. But I mean, at the moment, it's it's all right. I've still got lots of space to fill it first, and I've got an idea in my head how I want it to look. But for some reason, I don't know if it's the fish, but they don't like anything on the sea on the bed. So if I put like those, do you remember those Trachophilias? If anyone watches the channel, you see I bought those Trachophilias. And they just died. The fish were pestering. Today I had that candy cane on the frag plug on the just on the gravel, and the tang or what, I don't know what it was, just kept knocking it over. They just don't like anything on the thing, so it's quite annoying because I want to literally fill the whole.
A lot of the corals on the sandbed. I was chatting to Scott, who's at Future Frags, and he says that they like to be sat on, be elevated and sat up a little bit from the sand. So I don't know if that. So like the chalice, he said you need to get a plate on it, and it's on a little pedestal, so then it can spread over it. Yeah. And he said the same with Trachyphelias. He said you need to raise them up on a plug or something so they're off the sand, as it were, not touching the sand directly.
Well, that's what I've obviously done. Oh, I've done that wrong. Cheers, Reef King. Thanks, mate.
Yeah,
his coral room's amazing, though, isn't it?
It is.
And his son's tank, he's got that little. Is it cowfish he's got in there? If anyone sees his guy,
I like the little pea puffer or whatever it is.
It's the cowfish. There was a video, wasn't there, a couple of weeks back on that one. That's the one you're referring to, Neil.
The thing is, they look really cool, but they grow to about a foot as well, I think.
Yeah, lovely fish. Just a couple of questions there. Someone's put in there about has anyone used natural seawater? I think there's a couple of comments on there before that. I don't know if anyone on here has used. I haven't used natural seawater for the simple reason that I'd have to travel about 35 minutes, and I don't fancy taking the water from the North Sea. I must admit, it's not exactly the cleanest from the shores I've got. It's a bit different up on the coast of Scotland, whilst I can imagine the natural seawater up there is pretty clean, I would say.
Yeah, well, some of the places that I go up on the west coast, the distilleries and so on up there, I mean, the water in the sea there is absolutely crystal clear. I mean, I've never seen water that clear before as what some of the stuff on the west coast is. I know Mark, Practical Reefer, he actually done a video on collecting natural seawater from it's Scottish water. I think it's from the east coast, so it's round about the kind of Fife area. He done a video on that and all the tests on it, so it's actually worth going over and have a look at Practical Reefer's channel. You'll see some of his natural seawater collection, and to be fair, the water was actually really good. The quality of the parameters and everything was really good. So I mean, I think from what I've seen anyway, I haven't used it and I don't know if I will, but it does look to be quite good.
We've got the beach probably about 15 minutes up the road from us, but I wouldn't trust the water from it. I mean, it's not like it certainly doesn't look nice and clean anyway. So
I've got Blackpool Beach away from me, and I'm certainly not going to use that water. You got no chance.
Yes, I'm thriving there, Steve.
Hey,
will thrive in there.
Well, you never know, mate. You never know.
There you go. There's Neil Smith's comment, Mogsy.
I might pull out a shopping trolley or something out of that place. You got no chance of that one. No way.
Well, you can actually buy natural seawater as well, can't you?
Yeah.
You can actually buy it.
Well, my local, Abyss, it's Abyss. It is the one in Stockport. They actually have tankers that come with natural salt water, natural seawater.
There's a comment from Paul on that, mate.
Paul UK Reefer.
Yeah, they stock it.
Yeah, I haven't tried it to be fair, but like I say, Mark's video on it was quite good. So if you check that out, then it's worth having a look at anyway.
Yeah, I thought the Alcon natural seawater is about 7 anyway, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, he's actually said there. Sorry, 7.2.
Yeah.
So what's your future plans for the tank then, Neil?
I think at the moment it's obviously now it's starting to stabilise. It's just to add just going to add some more corals. Fish wise, I think I'm pretty done now. It's 3-foot tank, 250 litres, and probably got about close. I think I've got about 10 fish in there now. So I'm probably done for fish, but coral wise, yeah. I want to get started. I want to try Gonioporas again. I was at the store today, and the colours in them, they had some like really bright pink ones. They got some lovely green ones, and there's all different types. So I'm thinking of there's a section on the tank on this side, which is I'm going to try and do a Goniopora garden. But I did have a purple one, and I kept it alive for about 6 months, and it just went. They're very hard to look after. So
yeah.
But I think
which family do they fall into, Neil? Are they softies or the LPS or what? I don't really know.
I think they're LPS.
LPS. Are they?
Yeah, I think they're LPS. They used to be really, really hard to look after, but I think with them being fragged a lot more, they're a lot hardier. And I think with the technology and everything that we've got today, they're easier, but they're still hard. I've only got one. I've got a pink Goni, and touch wood, that's doing okay. But that's the first time I've attempted it. But I think your tank's a year old. I don't know I don't know too much about them, so I don't know if they need a mature tank.
They do
or not.
That Goni that you've got, Steve's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Seen it my LFS, the one Oasis in Salford, and they were just putting them out. Actually, I think they'd only just got them, and the guy was like plonking them out, and I was like, God, that looks a nice one. It's like a bluey. It's got like bluey tentacles with like a yellow center. I'd never seen one before like that, and I thought, you know what, I'll have one of them. Didn't think, because I used to I did have Gonioporas and Alveoporas and stuff like that, and in my 170, and then my tank crashed. Well, I say crashed. The electrics went off and shut everything down. So it was out, no fault of mine. And I was out. Obviously, I stayed out. And when I came back, a lot of them had died. You know what I mean? But the Gonioporas is stunning if you can keep them alive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So do you feed yours then, Steve? Because Reef King said about you need to feed them, and then obviously Russell's asking what to feed, because I don't feed mine, but I probably should. What do you feed?
I feed them reefroids, because as what. So like I dose all the AEV products in my main display. Yeah. Every other day, I put 2 mil in my nano tank. Just squirt a little bit of it. Yeah, just 2 mil of it into my nano, just to give them a bit of nutrient. The corals bit of food. That's all I do. But I do that every 2 days. Whereas in my main display, I do that every day, every night. You know what I mean? But and I spot feed them. Like I said, I spot feed the clams with Phyto and stuff like that. And I just basically squirt them onto them. You see, people say you don't need to feed corals. Yeah. Now I think, well, what if you do feed them? Is it gonna make them worse? It's not gonna make them worse, is it? So you might as well just feed them. So I just spot feed them and see how it goes, mate. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, the corals take it. So if the corals didn't want it, they wouldn't take it. You know what I mean? So I believe that they need feeding corals. You know what I mean? But that's my opinion. You know what I mean? So. And
what sort of light do the Gonioporas need? Do they need decent light or?
No, they could. Mine's on the bottom. Mine's on the sandbed. But the other ones that I had, they were on the sandbed. It wasn't raised up on the rock. If you look at, going back a year and a half or so, 2 years. Yeah, look at me old one, and you'll see the Gonioporas on the video on my YouTube. Yeah, you'll see it, and you'll see all of them. I had about 4 or 5 of them. And they were flowing like mad, and they were all literally on the bottom, near the bottom, on the bottom shelf. That was it. Really nice.
I definitely want to get some.
Yeah. Someone's put Gonia Power, which makes sense because that's specifically for that, I think. So I think I'm going to try feeding. I haven't fed the 170 at all, so I might try adding a little bit. Once I get the auto water change working on it, I'm then happy to start feeding it. Does that make sense from what people are saying?
What's the next big purchase then, lads?
So mine's going to be some SPS. So just get some sticks to put in the floating aquascape. I probably only get about 3 or 4 small frags. Not too sure, but nothing like a strawberry shortcake or anything like that, because the tank's not ready for it. But just some bright sticks, really.
Oh nice.
Tricolour. I'm looking at Tricolour Acro. That'd probably be quite nice. And then maybe a couple of millies because they fluff up really nice. And they're pretty hardy as well. Sorry,
Have you
Ross.
seen the ones on Future Frags, Paul? They're coming on
SPS?
They're coming on the market in the next couple of days. They look unreal, some of them.
Yeah.
I was tempted, but I can't grow them yet.
No, I think you should. We said this before. I think you should try when you start out something like Setosa or Stylo, things like that, Hystrix, those kind of ones that you could a little bit more forgiving in terms of, and also just get used to it because they're pretty hardy and some of them are pretty bulletproof. But I must admit, if I want to get some SPS, again, AAC, they've got a what you see is what you get kind of Facebook page. And some of the SPS frags he has on there, some absolute stunning ones, the equivalent of kind of home wreckers, Walt Disney, which are tenuous, those kind of ones. He had some on there today. They're ranging from 30 quid up to about 140 quid for small frags. Paul's got some fantastic ones. And I see Stefan earlier on was saying he's going to pick up a pretty nice SPS, I think, tomorrow. So, yeah, that's where I would go. I've got some people locally, got some really good SPS as well that are really hardy. And really like one that tables out. You don't get many tabling SPS, and they're fantastic when you see them. The way they just grow out, they're really nice.
I think the next thing for me, so it's probably more due to the fact, but recently I won it was one of the like and share competitions on Instagram, so I got £100 voucher for that Reef Exotics. So I think I'm going to get a torch from them. That's probably going to be my next thing. I see all you guys with torches in their tanks and they look stunning. So I think that'll be my next one from mines as a torch. And then kind of leading on from that, I might dip my toes into the world of SPS. Now, I know I've been speaking to Paul and a couple of other guys who've commented on videos, Reef King and so on, saying that, you know, I can put a couple of SPS in my tank. Now, I don't have a dosing system or anything like that, but from speaking to you guys, I think I'd be okay with a couple in there. Just, you know, I do a weekly water change. Everything seems all right. So fingers crossed, up the top of my reef, where the rock is up the top, I think it should be okay there. So that's probably going to be the next move, I think, anyway. If you have any comments on that.
I'll frag those this weekend. So I'm going to send a piece of Setosa up to you and also purple stylo. So I'm going to frag those this weekend. Let them settle probably. They won't base out, but let them settle for probably, I don't know, 10 days, 14 days, just making sure they've got a polyp extension. And then I've got the stuff to send up to your heat packs, that kind of thing. So I'll send those up with a couple of Zoas we said as well, didn't we? So I can sort
that'd be perfect. Thanks very much, mate. So then, that'll be me dipping my toes in the world of SPS. So, again, I don't need the dosing system for that, do I, Paul?
No, I think there'll be two small frags. You'll be fine. You do water changes, and those two frags, they may take up some alkalinity, but I can't believe they're going to take up enough elements when they'll be quite small. They'll be, go in small pots. They'll be no bigger than about an inch square or an inch and a half high. That's not going to do anything. They'll take time to settle in. Then they'll start basing, fluffing up. They won't, but you do water changes every week anyway, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's good. So, that's probably the next thing for me, Neil, I think, is the torch, and then, like Paul says, a couple of SPS. So that's my plans anyway.
DC Reefing's got a new tank coming. He's got a TMC tank coming. So I'm convinced in his fourth tank he'll get SPS growing. He definitely will.
Speaking of tanks, actually, I noticed that Gaugau's in the chat, and I didn't see any update on the water box. Now, he'd said that the water box had a crack in the glass. Remember, I don't know did you get that fixed, mate, or was that something that's still ongoing? I'm not too sure on that one.
Speak to you direct now, can't you, Ross?
I get it. Aye, okay.
Congratulations, mate, by the way. Congratulations. That's an incredible achievement, honestly.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.
Ross, do you want to tell everyone, Ross, what happened?
So I posted up a picture of the tank the other day on my Instagram, and then all of a sudden Waterbox have actually posted it up on their Instagram page, so I was actually quite shocked by that. But yeah, it's
awesome.
It's done quite well, actually, that picture. So again, I see it every day. It's a nano tank to me. It's nothing special, but when they put that up, I thought, all right, that's good. At least it's been noticed. So yeah, I was quite happy with that, actually. It was good.
Your tank's stunning, mate. Deserves it.
Thanks
Fair play to you. You're really we talked about this the other day. You're meticulous in terms of what you do, and so you're only going to get success if you if you do that and look really good. So I'm not surprised they've picked up on it. So fair play to you.
No,
He'll
thanks
have
very much
another
for that, guys.
sponsor next week, won't he? It'll be like sponsored by Fat.
Yeah,
Well,
that's it.
This takes me to my next point. So the last message I got off them, they'd asked for my address. So we'll see what they send over. They're going to send something, but I don't know what it'll be.
Wow.
A 6-foot peninsula.
Oh, mate. That would be good. That would be good. But I have a funny feeling it's not going to be that.
Do they sell anything other than tanks? I mean, I don't follow. I know obviously they do tanks, but I don't know if they do other stuff.
I don't really think they do other stuff other than tanks, mate, to be fair. I think it is just the tanks that they do. So
They're going to send you a tank.
You get an upgrade.
Nah, I doubt it.
It's good how they acknowledge the reefing community around their tanks as well. I don't know if Red Sea have done that, but it's nice that Waterbox have done that for.
Red Sea have not sent me out my 900 extra large out yet, so get on to it.
Get on to it, yeah. Next day delivery, Steve.
Hey, better happy.
So there we go. Gago said, yeah, replaced all Goodfellow, replaced in a week. So that's good then. At least they got that sorted. That is one thing I have heard about the Waterbox tanks is that their customer service is really good. So
yeah.
Going to that comment for DC Reefing, I'm pretty sure that he's actually the tank he's getting is actually the same one. Yeah, my one.
Yeah, I think it is, Neil. Yeah.
Oh no TMC anymore. Red Sea 300X.
Oh.
So
change of plans.
I swapped it over because they messed it up. I think something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the Red Sea anyway. It's a Ross.
Yeah. So you think anyway, mate? There we go. There's Mark saying, get Waterbox to sponsor the upgrade. That'd be nice, mate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or there you go. Reef King. Red Sea will give you nothing, Jay.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
By the way, Reef King, I love that new logo it says. Absolutely.
It's
that logo is.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So when do you think
go on, Neil.
you guys thinking of maybe doing an upgrade at some point?
So for me, yes, definitely I'm going to, but it's probably going to be tail end of the year, if not the start of next year. I want to make sure I can do everything before, I jump into that, to be fair. Because my next upgrade will hopefully be to quite a big tank. So, if I spend the money, I want to make sure I'm doing it right. So I'll try a couple of SPS. I'll try, see how long I'd get this tank for with all the ups and downs and battle through it and then go for an upgrade. I think that's the plan anyway, Neil.
Nice.
It's going to be like Parker's Reef, aren't you, or something? From the few £100 nano to the 50 grand tank.
Well, that's phenomenal, isn't it? In both the tank and also the cost.
Yeah.
Oh, aye.
Yeah, it's an amazing
He's gone all in, isn't he? Even things like the remote control, he pressed the button and the hood goes up and all kinds of things. And he was really open in terms of, I know it's Aussie dollars, so it sounds even more expensive. It's like 2.3 to the pound or whatever. But it's like 1,500 quid additional just to be able to press a button and the hood goes up and you press it and it goes down. It's just, he's all in for sure, isn't he? It's fantastic.
I don't know how he sold that to his missus.
But if you look at his tank and the build and the stand, I mean, if you look at the stand was like 3,000, 4,000, yeah. But if you look at the overall build of the quality of the components and the tank and everything that he's got, yeah. And when we total up in our money, I know I'm going to say it as in just in pretense, it's not much, but 37,000 pounds, yeah. It seems a lot, but for what he's got, yeah. He'll never have to upgrade it again. That's for sure, will he? You know what I mean? So, 30 odd grand. It's a lot of money. Don't get it. Something we'd never be able to achieve, or me, I would never be able to achieve it. But it's not much in the scheme of things of what is when you look at what he's got. I think it's pretty decent price.
He's got a lot for it, and that's without coal though. That was just to get the tank wet, wasn't it? Because that was the they pumped in the water and everything else, and then and the rock, and then as soon as you put livestock on, it's going to. Bingo numbers after that as well.
I bet you he spends another 30 grand on the
coral. Their corals are half the price ours are, if not a third of the price.
Yeah.
They're almost about a third.
Yeah, fair comment. Then build a house for that in certain parts, definitely.
Yeah.
And then here's another comment from Gaugo. He's had to mute us, so stop discussing money.
Very true.
That is the scary thing, though. If you were to work out the money you've spent in your tanks, it would be phenomenal.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah, we'll just not do
I
that.
have. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've kept tabs on. I used to keep all the receipts and things, and I think I can ask Reef Dreams because they got like an account, so they can tell you like how much you've spent. And
so why he keeps letting you in?
I was like, "Well, you're gonna have to have a 4-digit password for this question in case my missus asks it."
So there's a comment asking if we've seen Red Sea's new Reef S series. Is that the one we were talking about last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a copycat, isn't it? As the water box in terms of the frame, and you got a housing for you that slides out for the controller board. I'm not too sure if the water box has got bracing around the edge. I can't remember, but the Red Sea one has, hasn't it?
Like a Euro brace type thing, Paul.
Yeah, by looks of it, yeah.
No, the water box doesn't have that, mate. No.
Oh, doesn't it? Right, yeah. So the Red Sea ones, the 850 and the 1,000 litre, I think it is the two. I don't know if they both have got Euro bracing or something similar to Euro bracing. Definitely the one I saw the picture for online has got that Euro brace, but I don't know if that was the bigger of the two. I wasn't too sure.
Okay.
It was like 6 foot and 7 foot, I think, wasn't it? The length of the tanks.
Yeah. Well, you know those tanks, those S series, yeah. When somebody posted it up last week, they posted that same thing up last week, yeah. Like, has anybody seen it? And I thought to myself, hold on a minute, like 3 years ago when I was looking, they had the Red Sea S series out then.
It's a different one.
It's been out for ages, the S series, but this is a new.
It's very different. It's different, yeah. Because the old one you're talking about was there before the reefers, weren't it? And I remember looking at it because it comes with the skimmer, comes with the lights. It's got the auto top off behind the weir at the back. And I think they're 5 foot, but they're quite deep as well, aren't they? They were kind of the quite expensive tanks of the time, and then the reefer come out and just blew it away in terms of price point and the different sizes that you got.
Yeah, you're right. But they still had the same. The same controller. So they still had the same controller where you could plug your skimmer in, put your heat off.
Yeah.
Stuff like it. So they still have the same box. It's still the same setup. Yeah. If you look at it, it's exactly the same as the older ones. Yeah. It's just this time they're running the lights. They're running because I think the older ones they used to run the old T5 lighting. If I'm not mistaken. I'm sure
they did. Yeah, and it would slide back away from it. Yeah,
that's right. Whereas these ones now run the Reef 90s. You know, the LED 90s for the Red Sea. They're running them ones now and those ones. So they do look good, but I think what's the starting price on them? Is it like $3.5 grand, $4 grand or something?
I thought it was 4,000 something for the smaller one. I think I've heard, but I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's expensive, mate. But,
so there's going back to a comment from the other week there with the Cade aquariums. Colin said we'd love to see a UK supplier, but then DC Reefing's actually commented saying that Cade have a supplier, they're waiting for them to place orders. So that could potentially mean we're getting Cade aquariums in the UK, which I think would be really, really good because they look absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. You see some good videos of them, don't they?
Yeah. I think Parker's Reef's actually done a few videos on them and they look really, really good, to be fair.
Going back to what Steve was saying about the Reef LED 90s, Reef Dreams seem to think they're just as good as the Radions, you know. They've got them on their display tank and they swear by them. Because the lad today was saying to me, because I'm thinking of doing my life soon, and he was saying, "Don't bother with the because I want the Gen 5s, the XR15 Blues, 2 of them," and he's saying, "Go for the Red Seas." But
there's a guy local to me, only about 20 miles away, and he runs a mixed reef, and his SPS that he grows are fantastic under those lights. They get mixed reviews, but certainly this guy I've seen pictures of it and I've picked up a couple of frags in the past. He's a really good and experienced reef and he uses those. Also, Eddie at Oasis Aquarium, Steve knows Eddie, and he recommends them as well. He uses them at home, although I don't think he's got an SPS tank. I think I think Eddie's got majority LPS, if I remember rightly. But he used them over his tank, and he recommends them. So I've never used them, but they're 2 people. And then you got in there Colette's Marine saying she has the Reef LED 90s and love hers. But I know it's like anything. Some people hate Ecotech, and so you'll probably get as many people who don't like them. But I go for those people that have actually used them and actually see pictures of their tank. And if they've got a good tank, it kind of sells itself, doesn't it? Whereas there's a perception of some people say, I don't like that light or anything, they're rubbish. But unless you've used it, you can't really comment. I can only see from the pictures and the people that I know and what they say about those.
What's the price difference, Neil? What's the price difference for your tank? What would the price difference be for using Reef LED 90s compared to Radians?
I don't think they're much cheaper, Jay. I think the XR15s are like 365, I think. And then I think that I'm pretty sure the Red Seas I'm pretty sure they're about 300 and something, maybe 320 or something. But there's not much difference. Not enough to sway you towards one or the other sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, because I thought if one was a couple of $100 cheaper, then just go with them.
They're not. That's the thing. If they were, you kind of give them a go, but
I tell you what, you do see, Neil. There's a lot of people on tank breakdowns selling XR15s, the Gen 4.
Yes,
I mean the tanks, the lights over this tank here, they're Gen 3s, and I bought those secondhand, and that was nearly 6 years ago. So you find the secondhand ones, Gen 4s are really good light. I mean, 5s are a big step up, I think, in terms of the power and also the spread. But it depends what you're looking for, really, on that. But I wouldn't probably buy a second-hand tank again, although, again, the one behind me is. When it comes to lights and skimmers and stuff like that, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd pick and choose who I buy them from in terms of how long they had them and what condition and blah, blah, blah. But personally, I wouldn't stop me going second-hand. You can get things for at least 50% of the price because there's so much on the market for second-hand gear. It's just a case of picking and choosing the right, which is, I suppose, anything like secondhand, isn't it? Around, picking the right ones.
Yeah, I mean, I always see the Gen 4s come up on my a few. I can't think of the name of the page I follow. It's just like a local community for selling reefing gear, and I always see that. Yeah, and to be fair though, they go for. I think they would go for about 200 a light. Which I don't know I don't know if that's good or bad or it's so.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because I'm not too sure how much those cost, but also the Gen 4 look because they give the manufacturer's date on it, so you can see how long they've been knocking around on that. Obviously, you've got no warranty on them, but the Gen 4s have been out. How long Gen 4's been out? Maybe 3 years, maybe 4. I'm just guessing. It may be something like 3 or 4 years. The Gen 4s, but I use them over 2 of my tanks, and they're pretty good. The Gen 4s.
The app is really good, Neil. The app's really good for Radian lights.
What, the Mobius?
The Mobius.
Yeah, the Mobius app. Yeah, it's brilliant.
I've got it for the Vectra and the MP4. Well, I haven't added the MP40 to it yet, but
sounds like you need the Radian, so then they'll all tie together into one app.
Yeah, exactly. I think it goes back to what you guys were saying earlier. The thing that's putting me off is the oh, night, Haley.
Oh, good night, Haley.
Thanks for joining.
I've got that one of the custom lids on the tank, so where the Radians would sit, I would have to somehow cut another hole in it in the custom lid because my one's a T-bar, it goes through the middle and then back over. So I would have to cut the things to have the same bracket as what Jay's got, but 2 of them either side, sort of thing. So it's one of those. I might have to either get another lid or just I'd rather acrylic. I don't even know. I think someone said earlier, like
it's acrylic lid.
It's not acrylic because it would bend.
So acrylic can bow because I've had a top before where it has bow, just naturally bows. It depends, I suppose, how long it is, whether it's got braces on it, on how thick the acrylic is. So it can bioacrylic. I don't know what that one is.
It's either cut it myself or buy another one anyway. So, but yeah, that's kind of the thing that's put me off buying them at the moment. And not to mention, I mean, those are only 18 months old. The photons. Yeah,
but if you're going to spend 500-600 quid on lights, if you've got a DD jump guard, that's you're talking 60-70 quid. Yeah. That isn't that much if you're spending 500-600 on lights. I mean, it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, individually, but if you're going to upgrade one, you might as well do the other.
Might as well do the others, yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I've still got the free. I've got the free AI 26s on mine, the HD ones. And somebody put down before saying that they were losing connection. When it was upgrading and all that they were losing connection with the, to reset it. They kept on resetting it. I think it was Paul, UK Reefer, saying that he was having problems with it. Has he got the Paul? Just a quick. Have you got the 26s or have you got the 32s? AI Hydras. Which ones have you got? Because he was saying he was having a problem when they were going back to resetting. Now I'm presuming, does that mean factory reset? Because I just
went back and had a look, and he said software's painful on the Red Sea LEDs. Mine kept resetting.
The Red Sea ones. Oh right. Oh right. Got you. I thought he meant the AIs. Right. No, the AIs, I've never had an issue with them whatsoever. They've always been perfect.
I actually really like the AI app, to be fair. I think it's really good. It's quite easy to use, and it seems like a decent app anyway.
Yeah. Well, the Mobius app is just basically a thingy because AI Ecotech own AI now, don't they? It's just like a separate booklet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the software that they're using for the lights, they're using on the Mobius app. It's exactly the same software, except it's just designed for Ecotech as opposed to AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got there. To know about Red Sea Lights, looking for lights from a Marine 90.3.
Yeah, there's a few people said about the Red Sea Lights that I haven't seen that before on previous streams, but people have been saying, like the Red Sea Lights.
Mm-hmm. And
also the XR15s. Gen 5, I think Reef King was saying they're really good as well. So there's certainly two lights there.
What's the idea behind the diffuser, Jay? I saw obviously when you added that on.
Yeah, so apparently it helps with the spread of the light, so it's not as concentrated. But also it is a powerful light, so it does take down some of the power. Obviously mine's a little nano tank, so it'll reduce the power. But I think it was about £15. It's not much.
I thought it was to stop the disco lights a little bit, because certainly on the earlier versions, the disco lights on the Ecotech lights can be quite bad. But I thought it was to diffuse it and actually get a better spread, and you don't necessarily see the puck showing on the sandbed.
Yeah, I think so. I think it just
so that's basically the same. I bought a diffuser for my Prime, so this was the diffuser here. And don't get me wrong, see the light that comes off it, like you say, it stops the disco ball effect. It actually makes it really quite good to look at the tank. The tank looks a lot better. But what I found with this one was the light was, the fan was on pretty much constantly. It seemed to run a lot hotter. I had to up the actual light output, and the temperature was a lot higher there. So I ended up taking it back off again and just not using it. But visually, I mean, it looks a lot better with the diffusers on the Primes anyway, I know that, but I just didn't like the fact the fan was on all the time, so I ended up taking it back off again.
On BRS TV, I think it was, they just said it gave a more even power across the tank, but also it acts as a bit of a splash guard as well. So when when the wave maker or the fish or whatever,
or the fans,
all the fans, just stops the sea spray onto the lights, which and for £15, I just thought, you know what, it's probably the cheapest thing I bought for the tank, to be honest.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Everything else is at least £20. Yeah, it's magnetic, so it just sticks on. But yeah. I would go with the Radians, Neil, but that's because I'm biased.
I think so. Yeah.
You like
them? I think at the moment I just got to get I'm getting married in July, so I just got to get the wedding out of the way.
Congratulations!
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah.
That'll be a big one for you then, mate.
Is the honeymoon anywhere where there's fish?
Been together for years and years. It's just finally just getting around to it, really. I spent the money on the last wedding on this.
We got delayed.
Yeah.
Anyway, happy birthday to the channel as well, because your channel is brilliant. I absolutely love the channel. Never fails to make me laugh, and I learn so much from your channel as well, mate. I absolutely love it. Awesome.
Yeah, so on that, if anybody's watching this that isn't subscribed to Neil, if they go and have a look at Neil's Reef Aquarium and subscribe to that, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah.
Make sure Houdini's in every video.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure I put them in there. Do you guys like? Because I try to do a weekly vid. Do you ever think to yourself what can I do my video about this week? There's not really much to update, and I think to myself, hang on, everything's the same as last week. What am I gonna talk about this week? And I was like, it's my year. It's been a year. Cam, I said to the missus, make me a hat, get me a cake.
I think when I get to the 8 and 10 month mark, when I've got most of my corals in and they're just growing out, then I'm going to be, you have to get a bit more creative with the content, certainly. Yeah. But at the moment, I'm adding corals at the moment nearly every week, so there's something to talk about usually.
It's funny because we're going to the Maldives for my honeymoon, and she was like, that'd be really nice. I'll be, never mind that. I'll be shooting some videos. I'm going to go do all the tricks.
Absolutely.
That's what I was saying. Is the honeymoon anywhere where there's a coral reef?
There is, mate, yeah.
Oh my goodness, Reef Dog's asking me a question. Reef Dog, I love your channel, by the way. It's absolutely sensational. How's the fans? When they run on whites, they can kick in for about a minute or two. And it can be quite noisy when they do kick in. But generally, when I use the templates, they're fine. But I can't really compare it because I've only ever used this one light, which is the XR15. But it does seem really good, especially for a beginner like me, with the preloaded templates and things. But I wouldn't be without it. But yeah, when the fan's on, it is a little bit noisy. But it's definitely quieter than the silencer pump that Ross bought.
That was ridiculous, that pump, mate. Yeah.
I saw Reef Dreams a few weeks ago, actually, Alex, from Reef Talk, and he had his full levers on. He's got a beast of a motorbike. Absolute beast.
Yeah, his channel's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the reasons probably why most people in this get into this hobby.
Definitely was. Definitely.
Yeah, he makes it look easy. He's 10 steps to setting up a reef tank, so then when you try and do it, it takes you about 6 months for me.
Yeah.
The way he communicates, it makes you think, you know what, this is not hard. I can do this.
Whenever I talk myself into getting another fish, I'm like, so Alex has got about 30 in his tank.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've just noticed the time here, folks. Actually, we've run on a wee bit tonight. Just I want to say thanks very much to everybody that's watched. Again, we've been up around about the 40, 45, kind of almost 50 mark tonight. So that's brilliant. Thanks very much to everybody who has joined in. Also, thanks to Neil for joining us tonight. It's been brilliant to have you on, Neil.
That's been a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining.
Watch it every single week, and I'm in the comments, sat there, chatting away in the comments. So yeah, it's been great to be on. So thank you very much for having me.
No, pleasure.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. So if you don't already, if you could go and follow Neil on YouTube and his Instagram pages, that'd be great. I've actually linked them both down below in the description of this video, so you should be able to find everybody's channels is down there with the YouTube and the Instagram pages. So brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much to everybody for watching. Next week, we're going to be on Paul's channel. Paul, do you want to tell us what's happening next week?
Yeah, so we're on Fishpalace. It's my turn. And we've got our first giveaway. So don't get too excited. It's not a massive giveaway. It is a small giveaway, teamed up with a particular company. Certainly something that both myself and Jay have used in the past. I've used it for 5 or 6 years. I wouldn't give a giveaway that I haven't used myself. So more of that. So that will be done hopefully live on air next week. that'll be a trial and tribulation in itself. So that's our free giveaway, especially after last week when there was a tantalising offer of a larger rampage. And I thought, well, let's give something away free of charge, so to speak, by us. So that's what we're going to do next week. See how that goes. So if you're interested, then clock in, come and see us, and you never know, you might win something.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, once again, thanks very much to everybody in the comments. Hopefully we've kind of kept up with them a bit better tonight and answered as much as we can. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing everybody next week. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers, guys.
Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter, happy reefing.
Happy Easter,
Thanks for
everyone.
joining.
Take care, lads. Bye bye.
Cheers. Thank you.